have some breaking news. Israel apparently is on fire. Let's look at how this story unfolded over the last 24 hours. It started with the report. All of the outlets reported this. Reuters, wildfires rage near Jerusalem. Major roads closed. Communities evacuated. This is pretty funny because immediately, and I say funny in the sense that the way that Netanyahu responds to this immediately is that, as you can see this in the first line here, wildfires rage in the outskirts of Jerusalem on Wednesday, forcing the evacuation of communities and the closure of the main highway as Israel appealed for international assistance to help fight the blaze. Wow, they immediately need help from the international community, Craig. That's, wow. I mean, you kind of feel for them. Like they reach out to the people in the international community where they've completely ignored them and anything they've had to say over the last year and a half. But now they need help. And so we've seen the footage of what's been going on there. I'm going to put some of that up right now. I don't know if we can actually read this at the same time. Actually, I'll put that up in a second.
Maybe they could just take a bit of the money we give them for weapons and just, put it towards that rather than ask for more money. I mean, 11 billion since he's been in office. I think that's enough money. Pick from that money, take a little bit from over there and put it over here.
Yeah, exactly. And Adam Media says, Israeli media says today's fires are the largest in Israel's history. The highway between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv have been closed. So far, 9 settlements have been evacuated. This is what God's wrath looks like. And we have seen a lot of this, like, well, they deserve it. We're going to be a little more careful about that here. We actually want to look into the cause of this. We'll get to that in a second. But this is some of the stuff going on. Here we go. You guys can see this. This is actually from Tel Aviv, the footage you're seeing here. And, it's important to say, yeah, of course, people see this and they're like, you know what, serves them right. But, again, let's be above all that and say, okay, what do you do when you're, as they say, under attack? And we're going to get to that in a second. Actually, Craig, let me bring this up. This is important. Well, first, here's one more response to this. You got, I'm trying not to laugh because this is not funny, but Israel is on fire. World stands with fire. Woo. Again, let's try and be serious here. But man, so when this broke, people were trying to figure out, well, why is this happening? And this happens to coincide with, this is the other ironic part of this, Craig. Independence Day, what they call Independence Day, we know it's Nakba they're celebrating, which is the most horrific thing you could possibly think of that has happened in the last 80 years is Nakba, where they originally came into the land, which they were told we were told when we were young, we were told that this was an empty land that was just waiting for them. No, not true. That's the day they ravaged and raped and pillaged and burnt people alive and took all their land. Well, they call it Independence Day, happening to coincide with this fire incident in the last 24 hours, and they had to cancel it. According to all these sources.
You better watch with your language, buddy. You're pirating this channel over on YouTube, and you're talking about their Independence Day as if it was some type of raping and pillaging and stuff. You don't want the AIPAC lobbyists to come and pull this channel, and you're pushing it, pal.
You're right. You're right.
Biased bastard, you.
Look, it's something to be very proud of. I get it. You found
there are anti-Semitic laws, for crying out loud, for this language.
Matt, I'm trying to do better.
Dead, don't you notice? Yeah. Go ahead, buddy.
But I like this follow-up here by Shani. She says, a prayer to the fire in Israel. May you consume now this is important. Every military base, every tank, every missile that would be aimed at children, every weapon, every bank, everything that can be used against the children of Gaza. And I pray that all the children, animals, and innocent people who stand with Palestine be safe from your flames. Now we get to the good stuff. This is the spin from the media line. Israel ablaze in national emergency, believed to be a terrorist act. And look at this incredible picture of art that they provide. Wow. I guess that's the image they want everybody in Israel to think of when they see these fires happen. Very, very interesting. Let's see what they say. As Israel heads into Independence Day, the smell of fire and the thick gray smoke give a sense of unease, with multiple sources alleging terrorism and fear of major damage to the Armored Corps Museum in Laturn, a significant memorial site. It talks about it's breaking out on Wednesday across the Jewish state for Memorial Day observance. Fanned by temperatures, low humidity, strong winds, fire believed to have been set intentionally spread rapidly through multiple locations across Israel. And here we go. It's a terror attack on Israel. Eli Beer, president of the United Hatzlah Emergency Response Organization, told the Media Line he noted that the fires were started in 20 separate locations. A security source also confirmed to Media Line that a terrorist act was likely behind the fires, adding that several people had been arrested. Really? Well, that's strange because Syrian reports this from Haaretz. Haaretz. Israel fire set by Israeli settlers trying to burn down Palestinian olive groves. And this is from Haaretz. As wildfire rages in Israel, security sources tells Haaretz settlers set Palestinian agricultural land on fire in the West Bank. And apparently it backfired on them. And because of the strong winds going in the wrong direction, it went right back into Israel. And that's why they're evacuating all these areas right now. And this is what we're seeing. These are shots from the road, which sucks. I mean, we've seen this here. We see this in LA fires. We've seen this in Lahaina. Yeah, it's this isn't caused by just.
Oh, that's the sandstorm, I thought.
This is the sandstorm, which was coincided with this. So it's all happening at the same time. This is all in the same period.
God or the aliens are pissed at Israel. Or Mother Nature, if you believe that, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm just gonna say this. Look, any opportunity they get, they're going to make a statement about Israel being the victim. And what we saw here in Hollywood, Craig, before we saw that Haaretz report, we saw people freaking the hell out about, look what we deal with every day. We have to deal with terrorism. Look what they're doing to us on our day, on an Independence Day. Look what they're doing. These horrible animals are doing this to us. And it's everywhere here. I'm seeing it everywhere. And they're not in tune with the fact that maybe this was the cause of this seems to be. The irony is, Craig, is that it's not the thing they want it to be. And they're going to ignore the thing it actually is. And that's what we're dealing with now. We've seen that there's been no deaths reported. So I think that we can make a little light of this in the sense that it is kind of ironic. It's twisted humor here, I think. If God is playing a trick or making a point received.
Well, Matt, I think you're going a little bit over the top there when you're suggesting that God might be pissed at the behavior of the Zionists of the last year and change. Maybe been pissed off of the, their behavior since 1946, but really pissed off of what they've done in the last year. I mean, let's face it. Israel is a lot like, environmentally like Los Angeles in a lot of ways, right? It's dry. It's hot. It's in the friggin' desert, right? It's not the most prime place to build, New Jersey-like condos in Israel, but yet, hey, reap the conditions in which you set for yourself by doing so and not building these houses to be made for deserts, right? And it also seems that if it is true what Haaretz is reporting, that the Israelis are taking a play from their own playbook again by using like a disaster capitalism like mechanism or a way to spin this, right? Okay. Right, we did this to ourselves, but let's play this. Let's blame terrorism, right? Let's blame the Palestinians. They'll have a suspect up soon. Never let a disaster go to waste. I mean, a lot of people believe that October 7th, naturally happened, that it wasn't an inside job because they took full advantage of the situation, right? So whether you believe, Israel was behind it, and, it's like an inside job, like a lot of people believe like 9/11 was, or they really got caught with their pants down, use it to your advantage. So I suspect that even though this fire turned against them, if they're trying to do what, kind of Jayme described before the show, get rid of the natural best resource, that the Palestinians have. And by the way, I went to chat GPT AI, and I looked up some dependencies on Palestinian families for the olives that you are talking about. Olive farming supports over 100,000 Palestinian families. Now, this is according to ChatGPT, so if you don't believe in it, whatever, okay. But I think we all know the olive, how important it is. It accounts for around 25 to 30% of the cultivated land in the West Bank and Gaza. So by doing this, they're really, if this is true, that Haaretz is saying that they did this to burn the olive trees and it turned on them, right? And then the sandstorm came behind it like, you son of a bitches, let me smack you after I got your attention. Here we go. Olive oil is also one of the Palestinians' largest exports, right? So they're really trying to de-buffalo them, like to the native Indians, get rid of their best resources. And it just goes on and on about how the dependency of these families are, and culturally, right? You know, when we think cultural food source from Palestine, we think olives, we think hummus, we think of those particular. So I mean, right, indigenous to that land,
right.
And this is crazy. So I mean, it's kind of crazy if this did turn on them and burn on themselves. But if they really tried to do this, man, I hope somebody steps in there and shows some proof or something, because pretty soon we're going to see a couple Palestinians on a perp walk saying these are the guys. But they did it in L.A., right? And it went around the right-wing media. Illegal immigrants set the place on fire. I mean, they're going to do this no matter what. So it is kind of crazy that, you know, you're bringing this story up there. And I hope it doesn't get lost from what Haaretz is saying.
No, even if it doesn't get lost, we've seen the pattern of when we see absolute proof. Like, for example, we know for a fact that the Hannibal Directive was used by Israel on October 7th. They've admitted it, but the media will not update the story for those.
Yes, Matt, but Lindsey Graham says that this is the second greatest, largest attacks against the state of Israel or Jews in general since World War II. Oh, come on.
This is the problem with any time the media will, oh no, we'll update the story, we'll retract it, we'll do a little update on page 17, and then nobody ever changes their opinion of that first thing, that first feeling. It's about the feeling of 40 beheaded babies. That feels so horrible, and you'll never change my mind about that, even when Israel's telling us that no. I mean, we don't have any footage. I mean, we know this story.
See, now you're just making light of the fact that we set the Middle East on fire. We destabilized the whole goddamn region, killed millions of people, but you don't think it was worth it to take out the modern day Hitler and Saddam Hussein, who had weapons of mass destruction? That, geez, you're just buying you're playing so little of the things. And by the way, on a serious note, I think that this story today, which is just genius. When you first told me about it, I was like, that's not as tasty, but it's a huge story and it's something big to talk about, right? When you think about what CheeseSlice said before the show, the significance of taking away a race, because you really can't walk outside and see any Native Americans in here, even though this was their land at one point, right? When we came on over. But one of the tactics they used was taking out their most valuable resource in the buffalo. And here they are, the deep state of Israel. Maybe suspectively, I don't know, maybe it's loan sharks, but the mentality, when you see the person in the beginning of of the thing today, that, the settlers there, thinking it's okay to get rid of those people. This is big. And really quickly, I just want to say that we need to go back to the best message that was given to us by what's his name, the guy who ran for president. And
you're talking about Dr. Shiva?
Yes, we need to stop saying ceasefire. We need to say end the occupation.
Oh yeah,
the occupation of our government. That's the most important message right there. This is another sound the alarm. End the occupation. They own our government.
Yeah. Well,
sorry
look,
about rambling on, but this is a great story, by the way. Thank you.
This part is probably the most important, because we're showing you what the story that the media is covering. They're not going to tell, whether they tell us, oh yeah, oopsie, it was fires that backfired on, they were trying to burn down the olive trees and they backfired on the actual settlers. Whether they tell us that truth or not, at whatever point they do or don't, the real point, and I'm going to put this comment from Leslie, because she's actually down in Orange County today, but she's watching here, and this is very, very important. It's all over the news. That's the point. Israel on fire, all over the news. But the news doesn't report when Gaza is on fire deliberately, which it has been this entire time. That's the point. Thanks for that comment, Leslie. This is why.
Go girl.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm getting thoughts of Chicago, somebody getting in some face. You're okay with supporting the Democratic Party? Well, then you're okay with ethnic cleansing. You're okay with genocide.
Yeah. Exactly.
Man, remember when girl is fierce. I wouldn't let Leslie hang out with Fiorello too long unless I checked in with them. Forget about it. They might start a revolution.
They
somewhere.
might. We might.
Like
we
the
might.
two of those girls? No way.
Yeah, we
No
might set
way.
that up next time Fee's in Florida. We'll come out and we'll see how that goes.
Y'all don't know Leslie fierce.
Yeah.
Leslie fierce.
Let's I'm gonna take this off. This isn't breaking anymore. This is screw this. This is what we were being kind of tongue in cheek about Israel has a problem. Oh my God. Listen, let's get one more clip of the settlers. This is important. This goes back to the way our responsibility.
Yeah.
And we talk about how turn the camera on, point it at the actual settlers, and they will tell you themselves what they're thinking, what the plan is, how they look at these people. They will do it for themselves. So here's one more from the settlers. This is now available. Guys, grab this before it gets banned on BBC. Get it off of Twitter. It's an hour-long, beautifully made documentary. Just to another plug to the director.
What's it called again? The Settlers.
It's called The Settlers.
Yeah.
It dropped in the last 48 hours.
We should put a link in the chat where people can go watch that because I want to watch that later on. That's crazy stuff.
Directed by Louis Theroux. He really shows us how the best way to tell the story is let them tell it themselves. Here we go. One more clip from, wow.
The whims of legislation, pal.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look. Obviously this is an ongoing story, but we wanted you guys to know that was happening. And if you turn on any mainstream right now, you're going to get the pizzazz of it, and you're going to get we suspect it's terrorism, and that's all you're going to get. So that's why you watch us. That's why we have these conversations. So
isn't it just amazing though? Isn't it just beyond startling where we're at right now?
Mm-hmm.
Man, oh my Lord, crazy! It's just crazy. We are going backwards, and the way they do people to just justify racism and ethnic cleansing as if, millions of years ago we had this land before Muhammad was even in the 3rd grade. There's this young kid out there. I think you might have seen a clip of him before, Matt, where he is on a show with all these girls and he's talking about how dumb they are. And he's like 16 years old. And he's I didn't know you'd have me on a show with a bunch of illiterate women. And he goes, really? You're name 3 books. Name 3 books. Go. Just books. And she tried to talk about Lord of the Rings, and he knew the answer to what it was, the real book. Well, he has this little little show now, and I think he's I don't know if he's of Palestinian descent but he's just a smart young kid. But he has this guy on, and this guy's like a gym owner, and known in sports. And he goes, "Would you let a guy come work out in your gym if he came in there that he was granted rights to be in this gym a million years ago because of his ethnicity and whatnot?" And the dude starts laughing. He goes, "No, you don't pay a membership. You can't work out in my gym." But he was asking that question that way, right? And it's so hysterical the way he asked the question. And the way this guy in the Settlers asked the question, it's almost the same. He's giving you that same ridiculous, over-the-top freaking answer. And a lot of people will go along with that. A lot of people who live in this country will go along with that. I don't think everybody will. And I think there's a lot of people who are saying enough is enough with this crap, right? But wow, it's just fascinating the way he. I don't care. No, they're just Arabs. They're Arabs. They're lesser than.
It's unbelievable. They're proud to announce it. They're not ashamed because I think something is off in the head because I talk to so many here in Hollywood. They don't give up. I think Zionism. I'm gonna end the same with this. I think Zionism is 1,000 times worse than Trump derangement syndrome and COVIDian thought. And here's why. Those are bad. But the difference between a COVIDian mindset, Trump derangement mindset, and a Zionist mindset, because you choose to do all 3 of them. They're all similar that way. You choose to do all 3 of them, living in a certain way of fear, holier than thou, no principle, just attacking other people for disagreeing with you. That's what they have in common. The difference is that we watch COVIDians and Trump derangement syndrome. They have kind of an arc of their bad behavior, and then it levels out. And then they go to a phase of pretending that they didn't do the thing that they did. it's almost like they have to go through this kind of phase. Whether they acknowledge it or not is different. Who you're dealing with, whether they ever let it go or not, or kind of get in a denial place of, oh, I never behaved like that. Well, you did. In Zionism, however,
Go ahead.
100% the meter is up here all the time. It never stops.
It hasn't hit its ceiling yet.
You never look in the rearview mirror and go, hey, do you guys remember when you said that horrible shit? They're doing it now. They don't stop. It's so psychotic that it's not just this phase. And we give a little more like, okay, maybe these COVIDians and Trump derangement syndrome people can come out of their little thing at some point. Zionists will never come out of it until they wake up one day and have to say, holy shit, I cannot believe what I've been doing. I have to just stop cold turkey. And I think that's it. That's it. There's no phase.
They're still testing their limits. They're the chosen ones, Matt.
Yeah.
They're the chosen ones. Deal with it.
Yeah. I'm trying to deal with it. It's insane.
It's legislative whims.
Yeah. It's
wow.
totally
I have to write that down because, you have these moments where you have a Weinglassism, Garland Nixonism. He has those twos as well. But that's a great thing. Zionism is greater than COVIDian and TDS because they level out. Zionism still hasn't hit his ceiling of bullshit yet.
It hasn't even hit the ceiling.
And they're going to it hasn't hit the ceiling. And they keep pushing it. Just when you think they can't get any more Zionist is this, they say, hold my beer, and they top it off. They're Arabs. They're hello. Yeah. I'm a white guy with a beard and sunglasses. Yeah. I got a residency in Lawrence, Long Island, but I want a vacation over here in my land.
Yep.
Gavish? As long as we understand.
Man. All right.
They should have made a deal, right? The Palestinians or the
yeah.
If they really wanted to be humane, let the Palestinians keep the land and build nice places for themselves and help them out as long as they sign an agreement to let a Zionist family come Airbnb their place for 3 months at a good rate. Cool. Had they done that, they might have just kept the land. Nobody thought about it. They had the Abraham Accords. No, I had the Airbnb Accords.
I just wish those Palestinians would stop using all those kids as human shields. I mean, when you got to blow a school up, Craig, you got to blow the school up. And, why would you intentionally have kids in the school when you were trying to blow it up? I don't know, man. They're very selfish people, those Arabs.
Bill Burr's clip is the best.
Those Arabs, very selfish.
No, you got to work around that, man. Yeah. Human shields.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
You swipe the leg of the person who has the baby, on the lawn so he lands safely in the grass, man.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for being so over the top, but we live in a fucking cartoon, ladies and gentlemen. If our legislated lawmakers can be that ridiculous and tell you that bullshit, we should be able to tell you some jokes about it.
Hell yeah. Well, we got to have fun when we can, but man, some of this shit, oh God, it's pretty depressing. But yeah, Bill Burr, we need some jokes once in a while about it.